Hello friends and welcome back at Mahakal IAS. And as you all know, we have started quality series and it will comprises around 35 to 40 lectures will be there. And in today's session, we are also starting governance portion. As you all of know, basically our GS2 portion. If I talk about you regarding GS2 portion, so it will comprises general study second paper comprises basically four subjects, that is polity, right, governance, social justice and international relation. So basically we have to study about these four subjects in general study second mains, right, and it comprises of 250 marks. From quality around 100 to 110 marks questions can come, right. From governance 50 to 60 marks. From social justice also 40 to 50 marks. And rest is 4 questions from international relation, that will comprise around 50 marks. So that it will come around 250 marks, right. So basically we are going to discuss today about governance, and tomorrow we will come with second lecture on polity. So on alternate day we will upload lecture one day polity, one day governance, one day polity, one day governance. So in this manner we can easily complete polity and governance. Then we will move to social justice and international relation. And already I have told to you ki we will complete whole GS2, then we will move to GS4 sociology optional, right, GS1, GS3. So you not need to pay any single penny of rupee, neither you have to go to Delhi and invest 2 to 2.5 lakh rupees for coaching. All things I am going to discuss here, right, free of cost. Only thing you need to do is fully concentrate on the board and also take one pen and copy. After explanation, whatever notes I will give to you, you need to remember and mug up those notes, understand those notes so many times, also make summary of those notes, right. In this manner we will proceed. So friends, those are new and watching for first time, so kindly subscribe so that your support can help me to reach to thousands of students, right. So basically we should start, and you can write heading, that is governance, right. So if I talk about you governance, what do you mean by governance, right, what is the governance. So governance basically means to govern the people, to govern the people. As we know, India is a democratic country. We elect member of legislative assembly, that is MLA, and member of parliament MP, so that they can make good policy, right, with help of bureaucrats can formulate policy and implement those policy at the ground with the help of district administration, so that social justice can be promoted and better governance can be promoted at grassroots level, so that the poverty can be eradicated, right. As we know ki today, after 78 years of independence, more than 80 crore people out of 140 crore people still take rice and wheat from public distribution shop, right, still take rice and wheat from public distribution shop. So it is not a very good news for developing countries such as India, that after so many years of independence, still the poor people have to depend on public distribution system so that they can eat food twice a day. So it is very bad news for India, right. So to eliminate these practices or to eliminate these things, there is a need ki we can promote at a grassroots level a good governance, so that the poverty can be eradicated, the unemployment can be eradicated, the sustainable development of cities can be done, the sustainable development goal 1, which provides for zero poverty, sustainable development goal 2, which provide for no hunger, sustainable development goal 3 provides for health and education, sustainable development goal 5 provides for providing equality, right. Sustainable Development Goal 10 talks about reducing inequality. So all these goals can be achieved with the help of governance. So in simple terms, if I told to you what do you mean by governance, so basically it is the sum of all political, administrative and economic authority, or we can say it is the combined effort of political, administrative and economic authority to govern or to run a state affair. To govern or run a state affair. So this is basically a very basic and core definition of governance. If I talk about you governance from ancient time period to till modern time period, so you can see in ancient time period, Kautilya talk about governance in his book Arthashastra. Kautilya talk about this governance in his book Arthashastra, right? So you no need to dictate. You no need to write all these things. I will, after completion of this lecture, I will note it down. I will give you the notes. Then you can write. Right? I will dictate all the things. Now all you need for you to just focus here, concentrate here, so that all the things you can just understand and mug up. So in ancient time period, what happened? Ki Kautilya write in his book Arthashastra that what is the trait, what should be the trait of any king? What should be the trait of any king? What quality should king possess so that he can perform his duty and at a grassroots level the governance can be promoted. So for that, Kautilya in his book Arthashastra mentioned that the king should be such that he should eliminate the bad people. He should eliminate the bad people from his council. Today we can see that PM had the cabinet meetings, all the decision taken, right? So Prime Minister had the cabinet meeting. So similarly, in ancient time period, Kautilya said in his Arthashastra that king should only hire a good people on the basis of merit, and the bad people should be eliminated. And he further talk that king is basically the brain of empire, mind of empire, and the people or citizen are heart of empire. So these were the words of Kautilya in his book Arthashastra, right? Also, Kautilya mentioned in Arthashastra that king should pay a fixed salary. To his subject or official, right? So that no corruption can be prevailed. If fixed salary will not be given, let's say कि one day the king is giving 50,000 rupees per month. Next month king is giving 40,000 per month. So this 10,000 gap, it will remain. Then the official will do corruption, will involve in corrupt practices, and it will basically result in a huge corruption, and the governance at grassroots level will not be promoted. Also, Kautilya mentioned in his Arthashastra that those who are writer, as you all know, Ibn Battuta, Al-Bruni were there writing, Kalidas also the writer. So they talk about various aspects of governance, right? In Mughal period also we have seen ki in Akbar time period, this Vikramaditya in ancient time period, Asoka. So in every court there were writers and who wrote about the memory and administration of governance, how the king is performing, right? So Kautilya also in Arthashastra mentioned that king should respect the work of writer. As today the media is the fourth pillar of democracy, in the same manner the writer should be respected, their work should be respected, their views should be incorporated for taking the decision and making a governance, right, for poor people at a grassroots level. So these all things Kautilya rightly pointed out. Apart from it, if we talk apart from this, if we talk, then we can see the Plato. So you already know there was Socrates, and Socrates student was Plato, and Plato students was Aristotle. So Plato also told the king should take the decision by applying wisdom, mind, and the good governance practices should not be seen in theory, but they should be also seen in practices. This means the good governance practice should not only be written in the books; they should be seen to be delivered at grassroots level. So this was the aim of Plato, and Aristotle was also agreed with Plato that the king should perform his duty with full dedication and determination, so that the poverty, unemployment, all these things should be eliminated from society, and rational and intellectual development of society can be taken place. So these were the ancient view we can see. And if I talk about the modern definition of governance, so we can see in modern definition of government, the World Bank has given, right? World Bank has given the definition, and in World Bank, the socio-political economic administration should be done in such a manner so that governance can be promoted at grassroots level. And also the World Bank and IMF, as you know, the World Bank is responsible for providing long-term goal, so that country can achieve long-term goal, and IMF provides short-term loans, right? It provides long-term loans, it provides short-term loans. So basically, the Sub-Sahara Africa region, we already know Africa faces a huge poverty issue, right? So the Sub-Sahara Africa crisis to the sustainable development goal. In this report we study the World Bank and IMF supported this Sub-Sahara Africa region by providing the loans, so that Africa can become a country free of poverty. But what was the outcome after giving the aid was that some core loopholes were there. What were those core loopholes? First was corruption. Major corruption was prevalent in taking decision, implementing, right? Officials were involved in corruption. Second, whatsoever grant was provided through loans by IMF and World Bank, but the kind of improvement was not at par with the grant. Let's suppose grant is provided of 10,000 crore for development of the rail lines. Let's suppose roadway, elimination of poverty, for food improvement, right? But the improvement was seen at a very minimum rate. That we can say let's suppose 100 crore, 200 crore invested, and rest rupees goes into corruption. So very bad news was there after providing such a loan and grant by World Bank and IMF, then also no good news was there in Africa region. And still today we know Africa faces a huge food shortage, and so many people are facing, right, the issue of poverty in Africa. So after discussing all these aspects, the one thing which emerges that if governance is promoted at grassroots level, then only the poverty can be eliminated, and not only implementation but the transparency and accountability at each step is very much needed. And for this transparency and accountability, the World Bank has also come with 4 pillars of governance. And after discussing this, we will also see in the context of India. So there was 4 pillars of governance. 4 pillars of governance of World Bank, right? So first one was elect, the review, monitor, right, the project. So elect means basically Article 326, as all we of know universal adult franchise is there. those people who are above 18 year of age, they can vote for MLA MP. So we are electing the people. Second is review monitor. So monitor, how we can monitor? So directive principles of state policy is there, as all of you know. And under directive principles of state policy, there are Gandhian principle. Gandhian principle talk about the village panchayat, organization of village panchayat. So with the help of part 9 and part 9a, part 9 provides for panchayat and part 9a provides for municipality. So panchayat and municipality concept came there, 11th schedule, 12th schedule, we already discussed about it in politics section yesterday, right? So panchayat, municipality, gram panchayat, village panchayat, organization of village panchayat, promotion of cottage industry, this is also there in directive principles of state policy. Article 39A provides for free legal aid to the poor. Article 44 provides for uniform civil code, so that the custom and tradition of all the religion, whether it is Hindu, Muslim, Sikh or Christian, they can be clubbed together, right? For that also, the Goa already implemented uniform civil code. So all these good principles we talk in directive principles of state policy. Once when in Constituent Assembly debate was going, so one member asked to Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar that you are so much talking about directive principles of state policy. So why you have given this DPSP in part 4? Why not given in part 3 in place of fundamental right or along with fundamental right? And why they are non-justiciable? Non-justiciable means that you cannot go to Supreme Court or High Court if any violation of DPSP is there, if any violation of directive principles of state policy is there, then you cannot move to Supreme Court or High Court. Likewise, fundamental right. If anybody violate your fundamental right, then you have the power to move towards Supreme Court under Article 300, under Article 32, and under Article 226, you can go to approach High Court. But same is not the case with violation of directive principles of state policy. So Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar very rightly pointed out that there is no need for court of law. There is no need for court of law for implementation of directive principles of state policy. But there is a court of people. There is a court of citizen. The court of citizen will take care whether government is implementing directive principles of state policy in letter and spirit or not. Let's suppose if government is not making good road for citizen, if government is not making good railway construction line is not there for citizen, if government is not coming with the step to promote education, to promote a good health, so if these steps government is not taking, then after 5 years, what will be the result? You all know, in 2012 there was the Congress government. So many scam issues were there, right? Coal scam issue was there, coal mine scam issue was there, land scam issue was there. So the people think we should now change the government, and after that, after 2013, this Modi government came. So basically, after every 5 years, there is an election, and people mandate is very much important. People can very well know that this government is not doing something for us, not involved in development project, so we should remove this government. So Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar also pointed out this, the court of people or court of citizen will take care whether directive principles of state policy are implemented at grassroots level or not, right? So basically, the first thing by first pillar of governance according to World Bank was this: elect, review, monitor, project, right? And second step was that as we all know, Montesquieu talk about separation of power. So basically, there are 3 organs of government. We all know. One is legislature, which make law. Second is executive, which execute law, and third is judiciary, which adjudicate law. How judiciary adjudicate law? Through judicial review. Through judicial review, the judiciary see whether that law which is made by legislature, it is in line with constitution or not. In yesterday session, I have already talked in polity classes that the basic structure of constitution is seen by judiciary, right, through its interpretation, rational thinking, whether the particular law which is framed by legislature, it is in line with constitution value or not. If anything seem to occur like it is infringing the basic structure, then that particular law will be disqualified, or that particular law will be suspended, right? Like we have already seen in 99 Constitutional Amendment Act, under 99 Constitutional Amendment Act, the appointment of judiciary will be done by executive. This was the news, right? And law was also enacted. But when this case moved to Supreme Court, then Supreme Court said that it is basically violating basic structure of Constitution, and it is also violating the separation of power, which Montesquieu talked in his seminal work Spirit of Law. There will be three organs: one is legislature, second executive, and judiciary. So 99 Constitutional Amendment Act was disbanded, right? So second is judiciary, legislature, and executive. And World Bank talk about interaction among these organs, interaction, and also checks and balances, right? Checks and balances. How checks and balances will be there on judiciary, legislature, and executive. So we already know कि if executive are those council of minister, and basically we are also the part of legislature. So how the executive is responsible to legislature, we already know through question R, 0R, right? In question R, 0R, the opposition can ask the question to ruling government member, right? Council of minister. Similarly, the judiciary, the Supreme Court judge, High Court judge can also be removed if any issue is there, right? If their behavior is not good or anything, then through removal process is also there. So in this manner, judiciary, legislature, executive both can keep eye on each other, and checks and balances can be made, right? That was the second pillar of governance according to World Bank. The third pillar was horizontal and vertical. Horizontal and vertical devolution of power, we can say, or we can say sharing of power. Let's suppose कि there is hierarchy of secretariat. There is secretary, below there is additional secretary, and there is deputy secretary. And similar level, at director level, let's suppose this is director, additional director, and deputy director. So this secretary can communicate with this director, this additional secretary can communicate with this additional director. So this is basically what? This is horizontal communication, right? Similarly, if secretary is giving any notice or any instruction to additional secretary, then additional secretary will give that instruction to below, that is deputy secretary. So it is vertical communication basically happening. So vertical distribution of power and horizontal distribution of power is also the main component among the four pillars of governance. So about these aspects, this World Bank has talked about, right? And the last pillar of governance is to promote transparency, accountability, so that at grassroots level the good governance can be promoted, right friends? Now we are going to move towards some important issue that I am going to discuss. How a good governance practice can help in achieving the major milestone in Indian democracy. How a good governance practice can help in achieving the major milestone practice in Indian democracy. So friends, as I know there are so many students, some students can be aware, some students cannot be aware regarding Pragati. So I must tell you, this Pragati platform was launched after this NDA government came after 2014, And this Pragati platform is basically stand for proactive governance, proactive governance, proactive governance and timely implementation, proactive governance and timely implementation of project. So what is this Pragati platform? It is a proactive governance and timely implementation of project. So the project review is chaired by Prime Minister. Also, Prime Minister is there along with the Cabinet Secretary and the Chief Secretary of the state are there. And recently 15th meeting, 15th meeting held and review meeting got completed. And there was seen very good result. There was seen very good result of this Pragati platform. How? So when PM meet, Prime Minister meet with this Cabinet Secretary, Chief Secretary. So all the projects which are going on. So Prime Minister ask these Chief Secretary and Cabinet Secretary in which deadline, give me deadline when will this particular project will be completed. So the Chief Secretary also have to give their view with rational thinking. They just cannot tell like this particular project will be completed in 4 months or let's suppose 6 months. They have to think rationally, and after analyzing all the situation, they will say ki this particular project will be completed, let's suppose ki in 1 year. So after 1 year, when meeting is held, then accountability is there. Accountability issue is also there ki the Chief Secretary have to express their view, right? So accountable, Chief Secretary is accountable. So bureaucratic hurdle is basically got eliminated due to implementation of Pragati platform. So now red tapeism, bureaucratic hurdle, right? These all issue can be curbed with the help of Pragati. And I should discuss about you this Baramulla rail link project. So this case study you will write in mains, so very good marks you will be given, right? So this Baramulla rail link project, it is basically connect Jammu to Kashmir, right? It is a 276 kilometer long rail line. And when this project was initiated in 1994, so from 1994, I should make here Baramulla rail link project, right? So that you can see easily. So friends, in this Baramulla rail link project, it is about 276 kilometer rail line connecting Jammu to Kashmir. So in this Baramulla rail link project, when it was monitored through Pragati, then a good development was seen. In 1994, when this Baramulla rail link project was initiated, so basically the growth trajectory was like this, right? It was going at very slow pace of 40% progress till 1994 to 2010 to 12. But when after coming of NDA government, when Pragati, the proactive governance and timely implementation project was initiated, then after 2012, a sharp increase and very fast decision making was seen. And in 2015-16, this 100% project got completed, right? And between 2010 to 2012 and 2016, the 60% progress was there. And after 2016 to 2018, the full 100% progress is today. So you can make this flow chart in mains examination, right? So if you will make this chart and you will show how with the help of proactive governance and timely implementation, how with the help of Pragati model, this Baramulla rail link project was initiated and got completed. So you will get a very good marks, right? So this case study you can mention. Another case study you can mention about Bori rail link project is also there, and this Bori rail link project is in northeast state. So similarly, there was also a sharp increase of 60 to 70% after the intervention of Pragati model. So Pragati model basically help in achieving accountability of bureaucrats. Bureaucrats are accountable, and Prime Minister review all those projects which have above 500 crore investment. This also you need to note. In those projects where 500, more than 500 crore investment is there, so where those projects can be initiated and the time to time review will be there whether these projects are going ahead or not. What are the hurdles, what are the problems due to which this particular project is not getting initiated at a faster level. All the issues are discussed among all the chief secretary of different states. The consensus are made, and whatever the problem, whether it is a problem between power sector, or we can say there is a problem with road and transport communication, whether there is a problem regarding land acquisition, right? Because you know, if any project need to be completed, if any project need to be completed, let's suppose ki I want ki this rail line project should be completed. Let's suppose ki this rail line is there, right? And I want this rail line project should be completed within 1 year. But I also know that there are so many trees near this railway line. So if I need to pass this railway line from here, so I have to cut this tree. So I have to take permission from Ministry of Environment and Forest Climate Change, right? Ministry of Environment. Also I know that this railway line pass through tribal area, and tribal people are there. Their land will be taken by government, right? So for this, government Cambridge Environmental Impact Assessment project also is there. Scrutinized committee is there under it. State Environment Impact Assessment and Central Government Impact Assessment is there. So environmental impact assessment is done fully by Ministry of Environment. Also, those are the stakeholder. Let's suppose that tribal people are stakeholder here, and land acquisition, the land will be taken from it, compensation will be provided to them, right? Compensation, forestation, right? So compensation will be provided to tribal area. Land acquisition should be done at a faster level. So all these issues are basically discussed. The common consensus between different ministry, maybe Ministry of Port, Ministry of Shipping, Ministry of Railway, Ministry of Environment. So all these bureaucrats sit together under the leadership of Prime Minister, and whatever the discussion they need to be done in a holistic manner, that discussion done here, and timely implementation of project need to be done, right? So Pragati model we can see ki first point we can note ki Pragati model helps in achieving a faster decision, right? And the good governance practices implemented at a grassroots level. Second, we can see with the help of good governance practice, like One Nation One Ration Card, helps in easily identify the bogus card holder, right? So those people who were having bogus card holder and they were taking the benefit under public distribution system were beneficiary of ₹3 per kg of wheat and ₹2 per kg of rice. So now they will not get benefit, as bogus card holder will be duplicate card holder, bogus card holder will be now eliminated, and the public distribution system benefit will be reached to poor among poor people, right? So in this way, as already Niti Aayog pointed out that more than 27% people come out of poverty, and now they are from below poverty line, they are now shifted to above poverty line. So this is milestone achievement in India, that poverty cases are eliminated going day by day. Similarly, there is also this PM Awas Yojana, as already you know. PM Awas Yojana is there. In this PM Awas Yojana, geotagging of house is done, right? Properly document is there or not with the citizen. Their Aadhaar card is checked, right? And through the initiative of government, it is very much needed whether the citizen is beneficiary or not of this particular initiative. So that is judged. So in this way also we can say ki the benefit of 2.5 lakh rupees in city and 1.25 lakh rupees in village reach to poor. So if PM Awas Yojana can be implemented at grassroots level, so all the people will have access to Pakka houses, and this will be a very good news for India to achieve the goal of Viksit Bharat by 2047. We can easily achieve this Viksit Bharat goal by 2047 with Sabka Saath, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Vikas, right? This is the goal and agenda, and sustainable development goal, which I already told to you, that will also be achieved in letter and spirit, friends, right? Apart from this, we also know as per economic survey that more than 14,500 PM3 school got established. So if this PM3 school, more than 14,500 PM3 school already get established, if good education will be imparted, so the education illiteracy will be eliminated from India. As we know, as per census 2011, only 72 to 74% male are literate and only 58 to 62% female are literate. So PM3 school will be initiated with all the basic facility infrastructure, and properly digital intervention will be there, smart classes will be provided, and whether teacher are there or not in class, that will also can be just through biometric attendance of teacher, biometric attendance punch card, right? So through digital initiative, it can be very much clarified that if digital penetration of government scheme will be there at grassroots level, so a good governance practice will be implemented and the goal of Viksit Bharat will be achieved. Apart from it, there is also one initiative, Nyay Aapke Dwar. So this Nyay Aapke Dwar initiative was of for an IAS officer who is currently serving in Uttar Pradesh, Shri Prem Prakash Meena, IAS officer. Prem Prakash Meena, IAS officer. So what basically the Prem Prakash Meena ji do, कि through intervention of digital, through intervention of digital platform, all the certificate regarding income certificate is there, ration certificate or ration card, income certificate of citizen, that are delivered to the home delivery is there for that. So citizen need not to be stand in a long queue, right? And the red tapeism, the corruption in bureaucracy can be very much minimized. So this is a good initiative. Another good initiative, Fund Your City campaign by Smita Sabharwal. For Smita Sabharwal is also IAS officer, Warangal cadre, right? Andhra Pradesh Warangal district, Smita Sabharwal. So Fund Your City campaign, with the help of Fund Your City campaign, Warangal made to be a sustainable development city, sustainable development goal achieved, right? In the similar manner, during COVID-19, Harsh Poddar, IPS officer, launched EFIR and Zero FIR initiative. So with the help of EFIR, Zero FIR, good governance practice such as domestic violence in family was eliminated. So Harsh Poddar initiative can also be done, right? And public distribution system, I already told you ki how the bogus card holder can be eliminated with the help of government intervention. Mission E-Kranti is also there. So what is this Mission E-Kranti? Ki basically the consensus among all the department, right? And what the state government is taking to promote citizen welfare, how the government good initiative can reach to the citizen, or how the consensus can be made between different government, that is also provided in Mission E-Kranti. So that all we can write, friends, right? So basically the today's lecture was orientation lecture, and in the upcoming classes I will discuss about right to information. Then we will switch to the mode of important aspect of governance, right? So many things we need to discuss, but now 40 minutes lecture already over, and now there is a need to dictate notes to you, right? So you can give the heading governance. Take out your pen and copy and give the heading governance and just write what I am speaking. So you can write the governance can be referred as governance can be referred as achieving political, administrative, and economic, achieving political, administrative, and economic affair to run a state, full stop. Now you can write H for ancient period, the Kautilya in his book Arthashastra, talk about the governance as that the king is the brain of empire. King is the brain of empire, and citizen are heart of empire. Full stop. The king should make his decision in such a manner that the poorest among poor people interest should be served. The king should pay a fixed salary to his subordinate, so that the practice of corruption can be minimized at grassroots level. Full stop. At grassroots level. Also, while implementing the decision, king should also take the view of writer. The view of writer should not be ignored. The writer are basically who write about the kingdom, its affair. So basically these writers were today's media. As today's media is considered as fourth pillar of democracy, we know, right? So this is basically. Now you can write key H for World Bank and IMF have come with report of Sub-Sahara Africa crisis to sustainable development goal. So World Bank and IMF have clearly noted that a huge corruption was prevalent. Whatever the funding was provided by World Bank and IMF, that was not utilized in a right manner. The transparency and accountability was lacking. Full stop. Now you can just write the fourth pillar of governance. Fourth pillar of governance according to World Bank. You can write this fourth pillar of governance and put it in box. Fourth pillar of governance, and below you can write World Bank. Right. According to you can just write key according to World Bank. There are four pillar of governance. First one you can note. First pillar you can note. Elected, review, monitored. You can write elected, review, monitored and implement. Elected, review, monitored and implement. So elected I already told you in context of India, that is article 326. You can write. In place of review and monitored, you can write directive principles of state policy. directive principles of state policy, and in below the directive principles of state policy, you can just mention कि when one member ask about the implementation of DPSP, and talk about their justification, and talk about कि why they are not justiciable in nature as like fundamental right, then Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar told that the DPSP will be not implemented in court of law, but they will be implemented through court of people. And I already have explained to you ki how they will be implemented through court of people. That is example election. Every 5-year election is there. I already explained to you, right? And second point, you can write the interaction, or basically you can write the checks and balances among different organs of government. That is judiciary, legislature and executive. And you can write the legislature, how the executive is responsible to legislature, that is 0 R, question R, you can write. And you can write ki the legislature is also accountable to judiciary, example judicial review. And judiciary can be, the judges of Supreme Court, High Court can be removed through legislature. This point you can write. And third point, you can write ki horizontal and vertical interaction among ministries, government department, right? Third point, you can write ki horizontal and vertical communication, or you can say ki sharing of power, and just you can make this two diagram. Here you can write secretary, here you can write additional secretary, and here you can write deputy secretary, right? You need to make this in your copy, and here you can just mention director, additional director, and deputy director, and you can just make this like this. So this is basically horizontal communication or horizontal sharing, right? And you can just make this arrow. The secretary is giving instruction to additional secretary giving instruction to secretary. So this is vertical devolution of power, we can say, or vertical communication, right? So this you can make. And fourth point, just you can mention ki the transparency and accountability is very much needed among the 4 pillars of governance. So this is completed basically. Now the last part of lecture which I need to dictate you is that ki importance of governance in Indian democracy. So you can just write this heading. Importance of governance in Indian democracy. In first point, you can write the Pragati. You can just mention Pragati model, and you will write first point, that is Pragati, proactive governance and timely implementation of project. Proactive governance and timely implementation of project helps in achieving consensus among different ministries of government. Faster decision making was promoted. For example, PM Gati Shakti scheme, right? PM Gati Shakti known for basically formulation of policies and implementation of decision among several ministries. Consensus is there. Let's suppose the Ministry of Road Transport is there, Ministry of Shipping, Ministry of Port, Ministry of Environment. So basically faster decision making process is there. Second point, you can write ki land acquisition in land acquisition faster decision making, faster decision are made with the help of Pragati model. For example, you can give example of this Baramulla rail link project. I have already explained to you Baramulla rail link project, and you can just mention it will connect to Jammu to Kashmir Valley, Baramulla rail link project, 276 kilometer, rugged topography is there, flora fauna, right? You can just mention this, and just you can draw this graph, and you can here mention the 1994 to 1995 to 210 to 12, only 40% project was completed, and after intervention of this Pragati model, 2012 to 2013, 60% project were completed between 2012 to 2016, and afterward that very faster mode till 2018 whole project was completed. And second example you can write about this Bori rail link project, that is in northeastern state. Next important point you will note about the as per economic survey 2025-2026, 14,500 school under PM3 got constructed. It will help in achieving right to free and compulsory education, and sustainable development goal of education to all will be achieved in letter and spirit, which will help in achieving the goal of Viksit Bharat by 2047. Next point you will write कि through intervention of One Nation One Ration Card scheme, One Nation One Ration Card scheme, the bogus card holder will be eliminated, and the benefit will be reached to poorest among poor. And you can just write as per Niti Aayog report, more than 24 crore people are lifted out of poverty, and they are now shifted to a poverty line. So this one point you can note, and also you can last point you can note ki with the help of PM Awas Yojana, now people are entitled to get 2.5 lakh rupees for constructing houses in city urban area, and 1.25 lakh rupee for construction of houses in rural area. This point also you can note. So with this efforts of government at grassroots level, the citizen centric administration will also be provided, right? And last point you can write about this Mission Karmyogi. You can write about the Mission Karmyogi, I got platform, on-site learning. Basically, under this Mission Karmyogi, the bureaucrats will be held accountable, and they will visit through this. We can say ki the DMSP Darbar, Janta Darbar is also there, through which the faster decision making process will be there. E-Chopal, Gaon Chopal, so many initiatives are there. So basically, under this initiative, I have already told you you can write न्याय आपके द्वार, And second one I was talking about is Fund Your City campaign. And third one was this Hotspot EFIR 0FIR. So basically these three examples you will write. So first heading you will write न्याय आपके द्वार, न्याय आपके द्वार. अंडर न्याय आपके द्वार you can write कि न्याय आपके द्वार इनिशिएटिव, न्याय आपके द्वार इनिशिएटिव was of प्रेम प्रकाश मीना, श्री प्रेम प्रकाश मीना, IAS ऑफिसर. who generally paid income certificate या who generally deliver from home to home this income certificate, ration card, right? And Ulpin initiative also you can mention unique land parcel identification scheme is there. So basically the work of Ulpin, the unique land parcel identification scheme is that ki now digital tagging of land can be happen. So corruption in bureaucracy or red tapeism can be removed. Ulpin will be a 16-digit number will be there. So it will help people to find out the land record, right? So Ulpin also you can mention. Now you can mention about Fund Your City campaign. So under it you will write Fund Your City campaign. It is the initiative of IAS officer Srimati Smita Sabharwal. Spelling is there. Srimati Smita Sabharwal. SABARHWL Sabharwal. So in Warangal city, for sustainable development of city, Fund Your City campaign was promoted. You can write this. And last one you can write EFIR या 0FIR was launched. Initiative was launched by Harsh Poddar IPS officer. By Harsh Poddar IPS officer during COVID-19. So this initiative help in eliminating domestic violence incidents during COVID-19. So basically parents, we have completed this orientation session. We can say this is the orientation session of governance, and you can write the answer of one question. Homework question is there. So the homework question for answer writing, and you need to write the answer of this question in 100 to 150 words, and you can just WhatsApp me also after writing the answer of this question on my mobile number 9340786461, right? And those of you who not want to write the answer and forward to this WhatsApp number, you can just mention the IMP point. What should be the introduction, what should be the conclusion, what should be the body part. Just you can mention major point in comment section, so that I can read and I can comment whether you have write all the points right or not, that I can judge, right? So two way are there. First page you can just write the answer of this question and can just WhatsApp me. Otherwise second option is you can just mention in comment important point. So today's question is, what do you mean by good governance? Also discuss the role of, what do you mean by good governance, and also discuss the role of the Pragati platform in achieving milestone good governance practice, good governance practice in Indian democracy. In Indian democracy. So friends, this is the question, and you need to write the answer to this particular question. Yesterday also I have given you one question, that was the what do you mean by constitution and how this constitutionalism can be promoted. So basically you can also write the answer of that question, and similarly you can also just WhatsApp me the answer, and in tomorrow class we will discuss the answer of that question, right? So basically friends, our aim is to discuss more and more every day. From yesterday I have committed that every day 1 hour classes will be there in evening for you people. And what is the roadmap, that also I need to tell you. Basically every day we are going to discuss one quality lecture, and alternate day we are going to discuss about one governance lecture. After completion of polity in around 35 to 40 lecture, and governance, let's suppose 10 to 12 lecture will be there. After completion of this polity and governance, we will move towards social justice. So for social justice also we need 7 to 8 classes, and after social justice is completed, then we will move towards international relation. So once our GS2 portion get completed, along with answer writing, as I also give one question, just like I have given you question. Yesterday also I have given question. In next class we will discuss the answer of that question. And as our GS2 will be completed, then we will move towards GS4 ethics, essay, sociology optional. Also I will teach you free of cost, right? Without no need to pay any single penny here and there. Just need to concentrate what I am teaching, and you know my teaching pedagogy very well. First I explain every concept in a lucid manner, then I dictate all the things which I discuss in the class. So the only thing from your side is needed is patience, and whatever doubt you are facing, you can just mention in comment section, these are my doubts from this lecture. Also for 10 to 15 minutes every day I come in a live session. So in live session you can just ask me doubt, you can visit just Mahakal IAS, right, and subscribe this channel. So every day whenever the video get uploaded, and if you will subscribe, so you will get the benefit, right? Because the good content is lacking on YouTube. There are so much content is there, so much noise is there, but what content we need to take and we need to just reproduce in examination, that content is not there. There are so many videos of Lakshmikant, there are so many videos of modern history, Spectrum, Rajiv, but that will not help you in fetching the marks, right? Because the men's component we have to study from men's perspective. Only Lakshmikant will not suffice to write good answers for polity sections or for city, for governance or social justice. Only the basic stuff will not help. You need to write a good introduction, you need to write a good body, you need to mention so many government initiatives, so many government websites. Just I give you today example of Baramulla Rail Link project. I just visited this PIB. I was watching the video, I have collected all the points from there. So many efforts we do for you guys, and only one thing we want from you, that it just help me to grow up my this YouTube channel Mahakal IAS, right? And just share this video to Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, whatever you can do for me. And for you, I am delivering quality free lecture for you, and in this manner we together can help, and I can help you, you can help me, and in 2027 you will definitely get a success. Only the thing is you need to be motivated, do hard work, and whatever I am teaching, just revise it again and again, and make summary of these notes. One page notes you should make, and attempt these questions, right? Whatever comes in your mind, just write in 150 words. Now don't think about whether in time limit, let's suppose 7 minutes, 8 minutes I am going to write or not. That will come with process, right? It is a long journey. After 4 to 5 months, if you are consistent, then time will not be a constraint for you. Now you just need to focus on introduction, body and conclusion part. If you are taking 10 to 15 minutes in writing the answer of this question, that is also fine. That is also the no problem. Now you only need to build content. With practice, more and more practice, the speed will come surely, right? So we should now close this lecture here, and we will meet you guys tomorrow in evening with polity lecture or governance lecture, right? So till take care and bye bye, good night. Thank you very much.